I'm not patient. What the fuck is? Hey, Brian.
Ryan, you need to just. This is a song you should like. Listen to this song.
It sounds more exciting than what it is.
Let's see how we can lose our next 3 listeners.
Can I tell my goddamn story?
Let's try to work on our people skills.
Can I tell my goddamn
So we got Chris Storin here, all the way from Las Vegas, home of the Golden Showers, aka the Golden Knights hockey team. But yeah, here he is. All right, Mr. iPhone. Oh, look at him. He's sideways. He literally is sideways.
Hey.
I thought it would correct it and do it, Lance. Normally it does, but your phone's a funny one. How do you? There you go.
Oh, there we go.
How do you still look like you live in San Leandro and you're in Las Vegas? Jesus Christ! It looks like you're still outside your front porch in San Leandro, man.
Difference is there's peace and quiet here. There's no crackheads.
Yeah, you don't have a crackhead next door. Yeah, I got you. I'm sure you look much more peaceful. Chris Storin, hell yeah, good to see you, man.
What's up, bro?
Long time. You've been through a lot. We just caught up. I'm on the crapper last night after a meeting, getting home from a meeting, taking a nice peaceful dump.
You look like you're on the crapper right now with the little meantime in the back.
I'm sitting down. I'm on my bed. This is my, I don't shit my bed that often.
Yeah.
But no, I was there last night, and I think all I did was I think you saw that I clicked a like on an Instagram comment. As always,
that's how I roll. That's how I attack.
Yeah, and then you get a text like "Mean Dave," what's up, Mean? I hate that with the first name Mean shit, and you're like "Sup, Mean?" and and so then we got to chatting, and as always, it's good talking to you. And then I'm doing these meantime thing. I've been doing these since the beginning of the quarantine.
Good.
Make these, but I hadn't picked these up since 2016, and then since in the beginning of the pandemic, I was sharing a bunch of them. I like the old one where we were, breakfast in bed. Well, we didn't have breakfast.
That was dope.
Yeah, when we were sharing twin beds in the Reading.
Came a long way since then, haven't we, Mean Dave?
Not really, but I mean, we're still doing okay. We've been filming things.
Not really.
I've had some
so true.
I've had some good things happen, but I mean, they are. I would have thought. And I'm joking, but I mean, no, a lot has happened since then. I mean, I had a day job then.
Oh yeah, man. I think I was all hopped up on sandwiches that you had, man.
No, and believe me, I'd still have that job if it were around. Like all the thing about it
sucks.
No, it doesn't suck. No, I mean, I make my living doing my fucking shenanigans.
It sucks for the comics because you were the sandwich whisperer, bro. You fed many a hungry comic.
It does. Well, I mean, comic is kind of. I mean, they were open mic with comics. I mean, not all.
True.
Some were comics, definitely true. But
yeah,
and a lot of people in recovery. Oh, this is the funniest thing. Around that time. Because that was 2015, early 2016. I used to bring those to my recovery meetings too, and then I stopped doing service at this one recovery meeting because a guy who'd been around, he's been in there for decades. He threw a fit, so I ended up taking that as a sign that I needed to change all my shit up. It was a good thing in the end. It was very uncomfortable at the time, but I ended up changing all my shit up. And then the thing that happened after that, everybody was like, "Dude, we missed the sandwiches." That was like they didn't give a fuck about me not being around. They were like, "Dude, it sucks you're no longer there. We did no sandwiches." And I was like, "Man, I could have got there.
Ungrateful motherfuckers.
I got drunk. I could have relapsed. No sandwiches." And even that same motherfucker who is pretty hefty. Even he would say, goes, "Man, I miss you, Dave. I miss the sandwiches." I'm like, well, then maybe somebody shouldn't have fucking talked shit to me after I was just trying to help them pass off their fucking commitment, that they probably.
Those were some really good sandwiches, dude.
I'm just saying.
They were bomb.
I'm like, you should have been thinking about the sandwiches the whole fucking time, you selfish prick. Like, you were being selfish to begin with, and I'm trying to help you be selfish. And then even your selfishness, that wasn't good enough for you. You know, the bullshit we got to put up with. Anyway, so it's 2015. Yeah, cut to now. You know, I've worked. Yeah, I don't have a day job now. I still make my living off of, you know, being a bottom feeder of comedy. But you, dude, I mean, look at you sitting grand on your porch with a tree. You got an.
I'm rocking out with my cock out because when I had surgery, and then when I got home, because of the underwear and the sweatpants. I'm wearing sweatpants now for you and your beautiful audience.
You said you get surgery. Like, yeah, I got surgery. Like,
but let me just say, I'll let you know, we got time. But the fucking elastic on the underwear and sweatpants bruised me more. Like it made more of a bruise because the wound was fresh. Oh, so the doctor's like, yeah, man, just wear a robe and like don't have no sweatpants on underneath it for a couple weeks until it gets going. So I'm wearing them now because I just went on a little stroll. They want me to walk a lot more, and you know, so
let's get into that since you brought it up. I mean, you're a comedian. You've since last year you got married, then you immediately hightailed it out of the Bay Area at the best time. Now in retrospect, I mean, talk about making the right move. You moved to Las Vegas. You know, we'll discuss some of the shenanigans that led up to that were hilarious. And then started the pandemic. You also completely shut down all your social medias because you got friends and all that stuff that you know, but you weren't even that active on the stuff. You just got tired of seeing all the bullshit, which I love watching that bullshit. I report back to you if there's anything cool.
You thrive off of it. And God bless you for it.
I don't thrive. Not like I used to. I used to thrive. Now it's more like, oh, what's going on today? Like
you're entertained though, and it doesn't.
I'm entertained. Well, I'm entertained, and I do have people that stay connected with me on there. It's for my shows, for all that stuff. There is a level of connection that I find with it. But yeah, and then I come to find out two big pieces of news with you. One being, yes, you had surgery. Tell us about that. What was the surgery all about?
I had years of this thing called diverticulitis. That's when these pockets form in your intestine, and your like lower intestine. These pockets are caused by eating like shit, bad diet, the American diet, processed foods, sandwiches from this place my buddy used to get me really fucked me up, man. Like he'd give me these free sandwiches and they just like kept going in my gut. And
fresh ingredients, motherfucker. Those are the best ingredients.
That's probably the best thing for me. No,
it was only like a year of those tops.
Yeah,
4 years ago.
Yeah, and it was just years of eating bad and then drinking. And you know, when I would drink, I would have that late night meal at the end of a drunken late night meal, and I wouldn't be able to stay awake. I'd pass out immediately. And that's not good for your guts, you know. That's not good for anything, man. So just no exercising, nothing like that, and it just what happens is the doctor says, all right, you have this thing called diverticulosis where there's pockets in your intestine. If they get infected, then it turns to diverticulitis. That's when you have like an abscess in your intestine and you get really sick, man. You can try home remedies. You can like go on a liquid diet for a couple days when you feel it flaring up, and then it usually corrects itself for the most part. But that's miserable going on a liquid diet for a couple days, you know, while everybody around you is eating, and then or you wake up with 103 fever, which happened to me 2 months ago. Same routine, man. I told the wife, hey, take me to emergency. It's happening again.
And especially now in the COVID-19 time, having a fever is like freaky because I mean, you might think you have COVID too.
Yeah. But I knew I didn't have COVID. I knew what it was. I've been through this. I've been hospitalized for this 6 times already. Okay. And every surgeon I talked to was just like telling me about this surgery that I just got. And there's a risk that you could get a shit bag on the side of you for the rest of your life. And I don't want it, man.
Yeah, who does?
I don't want this shit bag, right? So I just like tried to eat better, even though I was half-assing that too. I wasn't eating better. But you got to have a lot more fiber in your diet. The American diet, we don't eat a lot of fiber. So, you know, that's how this gets caused. They said a lot of people have it and live with it and don't even know it. But mine was, there's something called the sigmoid colon. That's, okay, MeanDave, you know when you take like a good shit and it makes like a S? Like the shit is a long shit and it's like it kind of curves like a S. That's your sigmoid colon. That's like the big part of your colon. So mine was really damaged and mine had the holes in those curve areas. So imagine gravity and all that. And like when it's going in those areas, something gets caught in there and then it gets infected. I got incredibly sick. So this time around, the surgeon came in and he's like, listen, dude, the risk of having a shit bag is very low. I'm very good at what I do. You're young. You ought to do this surgery. He said, I'm young. And he's like, you ought to do this surgery. Well, I'm younger. So like he said, do the surgery.
Yet, are you?
I'm 40.
Oh, you're 40. You just turned 40.
Last year in March.
Yeah, that's right.
March, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm 44. I forget I'm older than you.
Are you?
Yeah.
I would never guess, MeanDave.
44, man.
Yeah.
Where all the wisdom.
And he said, do this surgery. It'll improve the quality of your life. And what they do is they go in, they cut out the damaged section, and then they reconnect your healthy intestine together. And then you're supposed to be good to go. I did a lot of research on it, man. I talked to a lot of people that got the surgery, or there was an old nurse that was in there, this old lady, and she got it years and years ago when they like split you open. Like she had a fucking zipper, she said. Wow. But she said she recovered and she's lived like it's total improvement on your life. And dude, when your gut is bad, your whole soul is bad.
No shit, yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't be yourself. You can't. You're held back a lot. So you know, I just got it done. I'll show you guys the thing later if you want. I put it on my IG, but I'll show you just in case you want to see it.
You're still on Instagram? I thought you weren't.
I'm on Instagram. That's how I saw you on Instagram. That's the only one I'm on is Instagram.
Well, you just turned it back on then, because I don't even think you had that on, right?
No, I've had it on this whole time. I'm not on Facebook. I'm on Instagram only.
Oh, you are on Instagram.
No Twitter, no nothing.
You never were a Twitter guy, really. Let me see, Chris. Did I unfollow you? Sometimes I unfollow people for no reason. No, I'm still.
Did you want to follow me?
I might have.
Dude, so the surgery is real. Like nowadays, like I told you, that lady had the zipper thing. Yeah. Nowadays, they poke 3 holes in you. Boom, boom, boom. And then they have like a 4-inch incision right under the area. And that 4-inch incision is to get out the damaged piece.
Okay.
So they have these 3, look. See these 3 like
oh dude,
boom boom boom, right? And those are for the robot arms to go in and like
you're like
move it around. Like and then this one is the sorry. Am I being too graphic, bro?
Well, YouTube might dock us for nudity, but I think we'll be good.
I doubt it.
Oh, look at that fucker, dude. Oh my goodness.
Dude.
That is gross.
Yeah, it's gross, dude. And it looks slimy, but that's just glue.
Yeah, glue. They glued you back.
It is. They do. They glued me back, and then I'm all fucking. And then under this elastic, look at the bruise under the elastic too.
Looks like you got a vagina in your love handle.
Yeah,
got a bruised vagina.
Yeah. That's not the first time I've had a bruised vagina. I'll tell you that. You've bruised my vagina many times, MeanDave. I'll tell you.
Good Lord,
yeah.
Man. Well, I'm glad you're fucking feeling better. I mean, you already look better.
I wanted to ask you some questions too about being in recovery and stuff like that.
Yeah,
okay.
Totally.
So say because right now they got me on these fucking pain meds. They got me on these oxys. Yeah. And I mean, they're my best friend right now, MeanDave. I've always hated that type of shit, but they're extremely helpful right now. And they didn't give me a lot. They gave me enough to last like 5 days. Mm-hmm. And then I'm supposed to be fine. But I get into pain, dude. I get into pain, and it's like Barry Bonds took a bat to my side, man. It really hurts, but I keep walking, and I'm trying to push through it.
Yeah.
And I'm doing good. I feel good. I'm healing. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, say this happened to you. and then you were in pain. Would you take that stuff or would you stay away from it?
That's one of those tricky areas in all recovery. People, the fact is, as far as my recovery program is concerned, if a doctor prescribed them, if I'm in extreme pain and I'm feeling it, like, and I feel like I would need to, I probably would. But the thing about it is I would be mindful of what is being prescribed, because I know many people. I would ask people too in my recovery groups, because anytime we're going through facing something like this, there's people we know who've done it. Now there's people I know who have taken medication as prescribed and dealt with it and didn't relapse. There are people because relapse occurs the moment that you are then veering off the prescribed dosage, and then you keep doing it even after
it gives you that itch.
And there are people that have been in recovery, or that have been around, have had, surgeries or conditions, been prescribed Norcos, and they don't take them. And they deal with the pain. They might take aspirin. Oh, nice. The Mandalorian mug.
Like that?
Fresh and contemporary.
I'm on it.
So there's people I know who've gone both areas. There's a guy I know who's got a tracheotomy shit or whatever. He got one of those fucking holes in his throat.
Yeah.
And aside from having to be put under because they couldn't not do surgery without putting him under, because he refused all medication. He always brags about it too. I'm like, it's hilarious to watch somebody get high on their horse in recovery who's got to cover up their fucking throat hole. It's like, oh yeah, man, okay, we get it. Like you're the fucking chief addict on high, but it's just one of those things that I'm not. I'm human like anybody else. I'm not handle sometimes an uncomfortable amount of pain to like my detriment. So
yeah.
So I knowing me, I would probably do my best to see how I could handle it without.
Yeah.
And then, but if I needed to sleep or something like that, and just monitor it. It's because
they gave me these things and they said take 2 every 6 hours for 5 days, and they gave me enough for that. But I'm taking 1 when I need, like I don't do it like that. My little ass, it affects me.
Are you taking less?
It hits me, like it works. The 1 was fine. I don't need.
Then that's actually better, because.
And I'm not following the every 6 hours thing either. I'm just like, I'll take it, and then when it runs out completely, and I'm in that pain, we're just like, all right, I gotta take it.
Yeah.
Then I take it. I don't do the.
How often?
I'm not on no schedule. I think it's like. I would say like 8 hours, 7.5, 8 hours.
You're taking
mark,
less, you're taking less dosage. You're taking less.
Yeah. And they said the best thing is to be active, walk.
Yeah.
When you walk and you get, because that gets your guts awake and it gets your guts moving.
Dude,
I'm already taking real dumps. It's great. I feel like a normal person.
If you're handling it without taking I'm saying if you're doing less over more time in the suggested dosage and you're feeling all right, that's not a bad thing at all. But that's kind of how I would do it. I'm like, I
was wondering what your take would be on all that.
No, that's really how I would probably approach it. And then at any point where I feel like I can handle the pain and not need them, then I would stay off them. Yeah, that's just me.
You know what happened when I was in the hospital? So I got surgery.
I would sell the rest of them to my still addict friends.
So you're a fucking monster. You're a straight monster. So I got surgery on Wednesday, and it was supposed to be a 3-hour surgery. It ended up being a 5-hour because he said that my over the years there was so much scar tissue in my damaged intestine. And he showed me a picture of it, and bro, it was like normal intestine, and then this fucking balloon. It was like inflamed, and it had these bubbles on it, and it was bruised and beaten. Shit, man, that shit. It was bad. So when they took that out and put me together, and he said, "You're gonna have diarrhea for the next couple days, but I want you to eat a solid diet and stuff, and start." start eating right and
Yeah.
just and like pooping again. And so, dude, I was in the hospital and I was kind of like on the bed. I had IVs and heart monitor and shit on this side. I had like blood pressure and some other shit they wanted to have me on this side.
Yeah.
And I was trapped in the bed. I couldn't move. Plus, I was in way more pain than I am now. You know, I'm fresh out of surgery. And then they're like, you're going to have to pass gas. We're going to have to, like, let us know when you pass gas. And so I did. And I had a good fart. And then another one. And then like this air is coming out. And I'm like, I feel this is fucking awesome. Like it's working. I started feeling confident. And then at about 12:37 midnight, I sharded.
Gonna happen.
And I'm stuck in this bed, Dave.
You're gonna be there's gonna be shit involved.
I'm stuck in this bed and I sharded. I'm only a week removed from an adult Filipino woman wiping my ass, bro.
Oh, right on.
It was so embarrassing. I told the lady, I called the nurse on the thing and she comes in and I said, just give me the cleaning stuff and I'll do it myself. Yeah. I don't want you doing that. And she's like, no, sir, it's my job. I got it.
There you
I was so embarrassed. You know, they can take the bed and move it sideways too. Like your bed like goes and it goes, your feet go up, your head goes up, but also it rotates sideways. So they can do that.
Chris,
I had no idea.
Of course not, because you don't think of anything but yourself. The hospital, the fact that, like, think about it, they've had all kinds of piss and shit and vomit.
I know.
All 3 ways, 500 ways of they've figured out the technology to do all of that shit, and it is their job. It's like you're embarrassed over your shart because
she had my legs up, putting the powder.
Exactly.
It was no diaper rash.
You got diaper rash. But now you got one of the best windows into some new material. I'm sure you can relate to on
for sure
or something. And besides, man, it's like, yeah, I was like, as soon as I'm like, yeah, of course. I'm like, if you to come out of a surgery that's dealing with your bowels and you don't have a little shit going on, I'm like,
oh, and you know what else that I want to erase from my memory?
What else?
A catheter.
Oh,
dude, fuck you, bro. Fuck you and that fucking hateful ass giggle.
Look at me, man.
Bro, your dick's probably tingling right now.
I'm tightening up already hearing about it.
Bro, that thing. I don't know nothing. You know me. I'm an idiot.
Oh, dude.
This catheter, I thought so. You know, they said they had a catheter on me, and I'm like just recovering and like, okay, yeah, and then like you feel it, it's there. So you know, we just want you to know it's there. And I like kind of feel down on my dick, and I felt it. So I was like, oh, okay, you know. But when I moved it or touched it, it did like shock my whole body a little bit. So I was like, all right, not gonna touch it, not gonna mess with it.
It's like that game Operation. I mean,
but I also thought that it was just a tube connected to the end of my dick, and that like I pee, and then the tube, dude, I didn't know. No, so like, so I'm talking to my wife on the phone, and she's just like,
friends more.
My wife is like, hey, you're drinking liquids and stuff, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm drinking liquids, and like I drank a shitload of water, and I haven't taken it. She's like, and you haven't taken a piss, and I'm like, no, I haven't even had the urge. And then the nurse comes in and under my bed she pulls out this giant bucket of piss, and I'm like, where the fuck did that come from?
You're being milked.
What the fuck? I had no idea. And she's like, oh, yeah, that shit is in your dick hole all the way to your bladder, and it's just siphoning out the piss. And I'm like,
your urine, man. Yeah.
I had no idea, dude. So, like, I was like, when does this come out? Because this is after the shart. This is like, I'm fucking over it at this point. I'm like, get that thing out. I will get up now. I will get up and piss myself. Get it out. And she's like, okay, we'll take it out. We'll take it out in the morning. She's like, you'll need it tonight, but in the morning we'll take it out. So the lady comes in, fucking lies to me, tells me, oh, it doesn't hurt.
Of course not. They're gonna. I mean, also she's a lady, man. Maybe
as soon as she said breathe in, as soon as she had it, and she was like, all right, I'm gonna pull it out, breathe in. As soon as she said that, I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
She said breathe in, and then okay, breathe out.
Yeah.
And she pulled that thing out. I was like, hey.
Yeah.
Oh my
exactly, dude.
fuck. It was fucking. It's the only time I've been grateful that I have a small pecker, bro. It's the only time I've been grateful. Like, at least it wasn't fucking like.
Yeah, long dong silver.
But that shit hurt, bro. And
I
then
don't know
like,
if I had a dream and somebody had a huge dick in it or something. I don't know if something I saw had a huge dick. I dream weird, man. Sometimes it's not like I'm dreaming of dicks. I just think
after she pulled that out, like the first piss burnt, the second piss burnt, the third piss was like it started getting better where it wasn't like burning as much and like it started feeling normal again. Except for man, my piss was just like it wasn't. I couldn't.
Your urethra was widened.
Dog, it was it was like my dick wasn't focused.
Your dick hole was gaped. That's what it, like an anus gets gaped in anal porn.
And that worried me more than any. I got 4 holes in me, and I wasn't worried about that. I was like, "Is my dick ever gonna work again?"
Your dick will be fine, man. It's just
I'm back. I'm back to normal now. But
yeah, exactly.
That catheter was the worst thing, and I told my dad about it. And my dad is 75.
Oh yeah, he knows.
And he's all now. I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna let you know this now that I'm conscious. If I'm ever unconscious and they want to stick one of those things in my pecker, just have them unplug me. He said it's so real. He said,
"Now
I'm not down for that."
You're not gonna put. I know you, Chris. You're not gonna be able to put. You're gonna be like, "No, Dad. You're gonna need to feel this too."
I know. Yeah.
I love you too much.
Yeah.
It hurt, but it would hurt more to put you down. All right.
But that's like 2-3 days of really uneasy uncomfort.
No shit.
You know, it's so the dick is. Oh man,
sensitive. It's
dude. And then you're like, guys, okay, your dick hole skin is so sensitive.
Yeah.
The skin inside, like, oh my god, it's like a fucking rug burn, bro.
Yeah,
it's like she started a goddamn lawnmower.
You know what I do? I eat right, and then nobody puts anything in my dick hole.
Bro, you gained a little weight, dude.
I shaved. I got my double chin. Just shaving. I'm still the same weight I have been. I'm overweight, but I'm not.
You're not lean. You're not lean, Dave. I'll tell you that.
I haven't been in a long time, dude. This is just. I don't have my beard to go to.
Your cheeks.
Yeah, no, my cheeks are. Chubby.
You got a little more rosiness in your cheeks.
But I'm 200 pounds. I've been steady 200 pounds, which is like 25 pounds overweight for my height and shit. But no, I've been this way for the last I don't know how many years. And
quarantine.
What? No, like since
well, when did we do that video on YouTube where you came over the house and we were hanging out, me, you, and Victor was on the couch pouting.
I was about but I had my beard. My beard covers my double chin.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I had no idea. Okay.
No, yeah. I might if I was weighing any less, I wouldn't know. But I felt fairly the same.
Stop looking at my breasts, MeanDave. You're making me uncomfortable.
You're making me uncomfortable. I was looking at my double.
I'm not trying to fat shame you. I think you look good.
No, you're flat out fat shaming. So that's been your whole surgery experience up till this point, and that's very.
Yeah.
But then you also got another little bit of news.
We're having a baby.
You. See, last year you got married in what was the month again?
August 30th.
Yeah. I got to go to your wedding. It was.
You dressed in your best attire. I
wore
love
my nicest shorts for your wedding because it was on a fucking golf course, man. It's on a golf course.
I ain't mad.
Summer.
Whatever.
I'm not the only one. I saw other members of your family that were there. That had
one other member.
They were like a couple, man. You had a Mexican wedding. I mean, most people were dressed nicely, but there was some Mexicans.
Shit.
And
you ain't lying.
And my favorite part about it, you were on me. You were on top of me all summer about who's your guest, who you fucking bringing, who you bringing. You got a +1. Who the fuck is taking that fucking +1?
Dude, I
don't put their name on the goddamn thing. And I'm like, I got somebody. I'm like, it's either gonna be my previous girl, Molly, or it's going to be Nina G, one or the other. Why do I have to know now? And like, you fucking know, make a decision. So I got Molly to agree. Molly came. And then, of course, we know, you
should have brought Nina G.
We don't, yeah. Molly had a great time. What are you talking about? Molly was good because if Nina G went with me, we might have stayed a little bit longer just to watch some comics get a little more like, because we're more morbidly.
Yeah, obnoxious.
Yeah, we want to see some shit show. But no, and Molly was great because she hung out. Also, it was good because you sat us at the table with Drew Harmon and Layla Harmon, and I think Molly's like they were the perfect comedic couple to like get along with Molly, who's
Oh my God, I got to show my wife this. Somebody that went to my wedding that's not complaining about the fucking seating chart.
Not at all. No,
I had a family like, don't sit me next to that bitch.
No, you actually said us. I think we were like the perfect table of like your friends that didn't quite fit in at the other tables. And then we all and all of us they all had their exit strategies. they all like these were not people that were drinking and sticking around like, yeah, man, load up on free food and booze. Like, no, these are people that all had like, because at one point I think it was just me, Molly, Drew, and Layla. But no, we had a great time, and food was excellent. I remember I think I took an extra plate home, if I'm not mistaken.
Good. Yeah, I ain't mad. They had cookies and churros and all kinds of shit.
But without going into too much, because I don't want to cause any further discomfort, but there was a post-show interesting feedback from someone who wasn't able to go, because you were just trying to enjoy your honeymoon. You're dealing with this person's baggage, and you're just you're at the point of like the stress of the wedding's now behind you.
Bro,
you had
crackhead neighbors, wedding stress, moving stress.
You told me all of this stuff that was leading up to your move, why you even moved early. Because talk about that. I mean, what happened?
Oh yeah, we moved. We were supposed to move here in January. We ended up moving in mid-October. We got married in August, at the end of August, so September, October. You know, we made it happen quick.
Yeah.
Because during our wedding, so Friday was a wedding, and then Saturday we had like a family barbecue because there was a lot of people in town from out of state. So we had a barbecue with a bunch of folks, and I had to go home to grab the wedding cake because I was bringing it to the barbecue. You know, might as well eat all this wedding cake. We still have a shitload. So I go home to the apartment to grab the wedding cake, and like Mandy's plants and like she has like these little decorative things outside of our apartment, just on the porch area, were all just vandalized and broken, and everything was broken. And then their door was open. I was ready to fucking fire on that dude.
Mm-hmm.
I was fucking dude. And that's the thing too. It's like, I'm getting in fights, and look at me, man. I ain't the guy. I ain't the one, I don't like to fight. But I mean, it's not hard to fight a crackhead. It's not a real fight. It's not the same. But I'm not trying to fight dope fiends when I go home. Yeah. You just want to go home.
Right.
You know, that feeling of anxiety and stress of to even just go home. Yeah. And paying top dollar for that apartment, well, they're paying like $200 a month. You know what I mean? Like, fuck that shit.
Was it a Section 8 house? It was Section 8 type thing?
They were. Yeah, they were. We were paying $1,625 for a 1-bed, 1-bath. They were paying $200. Yeah. Now we're paying $1,200 for a 2-bed, 2-bath. Yeah. Yeah. No, with our own washer and dryer. Like, we don't have to do it. It's way better here. And so,
so you were telling me about all these stresses, and the thing was, is because you were like, you weren't like, you weren't mad at me, but you were like, I could tell that you were like, this was it was so therapeutic for you to unload on all this shit, and I'm just dying laughing.
Bro, the way you introed it though, hey, I noticed fucking
laughing at all this shit, and then you start laughing with me. Yeah. Because I'm like, you're dealing with all this shit, and then you get this message from the one comic. You were banking on a comic just not giving a fuck. Because most of the time, it's like these kinds of things. Sometimes it's like, as much as you want to be involved, are like hassles too. You know how many times have you experienced this where somebody, you've known somebody for a while, they start throwing shows and they don't book you on it. And you've known them for a long time. You might have even booked them on a lot of cool shows, and then they start booking shows and some decent ones, and guess who's not on their fucking radar when they're doing that shit.
Story of our lives.
Exactly.
What we do.
So this is like, imagine now. It's like, there ain't no stage time at this fucking wedding. The fuck are you worried about?
Man, it's all right though.
And so
we've talked since then, and we had a good talk, and it's all right. It's good. Yeah, I'm water under the bridge, man.
Exactly. I've been through so many weddings that I wanted nothing to do with, and I'm the type of person too where it's like, if I really didn't want to be there, I would have been like, I'm cool, Chris, like whatever. But I mean, you're one of the coolest people that I've gotten to know in comedy, because I had a lot of respect when I met you, because my first impression of you, I saw you featuring at Dave Chappelle at New Parish. I didn't even know you.
Oh shit!
I didn't know.
Oh
you.
shit!
I saw you. I was because you were the feature act, and then I saw you around because you were friends with Butch Escobar, and he brought you on our podcast and stuff. And I would see you around, and you would always be really super friendly. On that day, you were drinking and smoking weed, and I remember you were kind of getting in a weird like headspace. And I'm like, I hope Storin's not upset. I thought you were upset at something, but
Mean Dave loves the angry Chris, man.
I do. I love it now. But what's funny was no, and then in that time, as I got to know you better since I got in recovery, because you knew me and would say positive things. But as I've learned from you, you always say positive things. So I mean, how could I really? I really
not
don't
really.
know. I'm not saying not, but I'm saying like you tend to err on the side of positivity when it comes to newer comics, and I think it's one of those things that's very. I mean, both. You probably did hear good things. Whatever. Even though I knew of more negativity of me floating around, and I was very paranoid at that time because I had Brendan Lynch always fucking with me. Butch would even fuck with me, here and there. I had comics that were always like, I had more support from the crumb bum open mic community that I cultivated because I honestly, that's where, from my DIY punk background, I felt like there was more camaraderie in being new and figuring shit out than there was in like trying to pay lip service to the established, locals and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's funny is I've become one of those guys locally, and I've ended up becoming what you guys were at that time. I'm kind of one of those guys now, and I see, but the thing being, it's like I see the difference. I mean, I see what you were doing. It's like when I see new people, I tend to err on the side of, that's
respect. It's just general respect.
It really is. And it's funny because one of the things that annoys me the most, this, it's like, oh, your name's Mean Dave. You don't seem very mean to me. I'm like, motherfucker,
Give me some time, motherfucker.
I don't assume that you're stupid right away, but you certainly make that, and it's not like any big deal, and that's not even you said something I still remember later on. This was like a later thing when you're like, Dave, I know your name's Mean Dave or whatever, but you don't have to you can do whatever you want in your material. You don't need to be mean and all that kind of shit. And I was like, he's absolutely right. I don't. And and it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, I do remind myself if I have a story or if I have something and it's lighthearted or whatever, any of that shit, who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about the stupid stage name. And the more that I take that attitude, that attitude ends up kind of more reinforcing. It's like people kind of get the name a little better. It's like, it's not.
I love that you're Mean Dave. I love it. I think that's your voice. That's the way that's. I get it because I've known you for a long time, and that's what it takes for a comic to get their voice across. It takes years and it takes time. You'll understand your voice, but will the people understand your voice? I got it right from the get-go just because of how you are and how you roll. And it doesn't mean you're a fucking asshole. It just Mean Dave, man. It's Mean Dave.
I'm like, what do you expect? Like somebody who's just who has no fucking manners? It's like the people who have manners, that comes from England. You know who the meanest people are on this earth? Fucking British, all right? Those are some real mean motherfuckers. They will be mean straight to your face and you won't even know it. It's just, look at you.
Yeah.
And that's how, it's just funny. And it just points to the lack of intelligence throughout the world. But one of the coolest things, but I remember we grew closer and it started with that trip to Wind River, because you would hit me up.
Wind River Casino.
You would always hit me up whenever your circle of people that we had mutual friends with. This is how I knew. It's like, oh no, Chris knows that I'm mean, because when he needs to vent his most, venomous shit, I'm the guy he calls.
We'd had some great ass combos, man.
Oh, it's always cool, man. But I just knew that I'm the guy that when you're dealing with the comic who's a close friend, but is just, you fucking had it with some of their bullshit. You're like, I need to get me and Dave in on this, and let's go.
Well, you got a lot of logic, man. You were raised right. You're good. You're a good quality human being, man.
Well, but you also, I think, you know, a good audience for that kind of shit.
You love it. I know you love it. You love it.
But you're not the only one. I swear, man. It's weird how much I'm at the crossroads of information in our. It's one of the things that recovery helps me with is as much as I talk a lot, I do listen a lot, and especially in this pandemic. I mean, I was the one person out of all those comics. I was the one that so and so hit up after the wedding. And I'm that motherfucker and also I'm also the motherfucker who's gonna laugh at it most, but at the same time,
yeah, for real. That's why I love you, because you keep it so real.
Oh goddamn. But I think but also it's like I'm laughing at it, but I also appreciate it's like, because I was able to walk them through, like I mean, of course, if they would have followed my fucking advice, it's like, we listen to your advice and shut down everything in the Bay Area. Why can't you fucking listen to my advice and just wait at least a fucking couple weeks,
dude? And it was just, you know what? It was the stress I was dealing with at that time in life was fucking. I was really overwhelmed, and I just overlooked that. And I do feel bad that got overlooked, because I shouldn't have overlooked that. No, they should have been there too, but
no, there was nothing. Again, there was. I think the thing was again, you were overwhelmed, and you weren't. The fact was, because you even said it when you told me, because there were comics that you told, but then there was so much family you didn't anticipate saying yes.
From out of state, like they all of them said yes.
Yeah, I know Mexican family. They don't.
Whoa.
Yeah, they
don't fuck around.
Yeah, and they don't travel often for shit like this, and they all were. Oh, sure. We'll be there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that shit too. But so anyways, so that's that.
Yeah, so we got the news we're having a baby.
You're having a baby, and how far along now?
She's 21 weeks. So on December 2nd, I had my surgery. And on that same day, she had an appointment with the doctor to get a what's the thing? The
mammogram.
Is that what it is? Where they like look at the baby and take a picture?
That's a sonogram.
Is it? Okay.
I don't fucking know, man.
Dr. MeanDave.
Fucking kids.
Let's call her and see what it is.
Call the telegram.
Yeah, it's one of them things. It's an Instagram, whatever. But so they gave me 2 dates for surgery. They were like, you could either do it the day before Thanksgiving or December 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I was ready. I'm like, let's do the day before Thanksgiving. I don't give a fuck about turkey.
Yeah.
Like, let's just get it done. And my wife is like, fuck no. I'm not going to fucking be sitting there at Thanksgiving, just me and your dad at the table, all worried about you in the hospital. I don't want to be all worried at the hospital or while you're at the hospital and we're sitting there. Like, that'll be the shittiest Thanksgiving ever. And plus, you're not going to eat. Like, I'm like, you're right. So I had a good Thanksgiving with them, with just us 3. It was really nice and quiet and really beautiful. It was great. Yeah. So then I was like, okay, well, December 2nd, or I have to wait like a month and a half to get this surgery if I don't get it done on December 2nd. And she was just like, well, that's the day that we got the thingogram and we're learning the gender of the baby that day. And I'm like, well, pick one, because I got to get this done. And now with COVID, they don't let the husband in the room anymore.
Yeah.
I got to sit in the waiting room. Yeah. And so it's like, you know what? Let's do it on the 2nd. That way, when I wake up from surgery, I have something to look forward to. I'll call you and I'll learn the gender of my baby.
Yeah.
And so after my C-section, I called her and she told me it's a boy. I know I had my baby.
You had your baby.
She didn't even want to know the gender of mine.
Of course not. It was foul intestine.
Yeah, it was foul. That was foul. Yeah.
A boy.
Yeah, we're having a boy.
Baby boy. That's so fucking awesome.
A baby boy.
That's great, man. I mean, there's lots changed, man. It actually got me chatting because another fellow mutual friend, Liz Stone, moved over there to Las Vegas.
Tons are moving here. Tons of people.
Sean Reddy moved there. But she took a picture of you at you were performing at one of the venues, one of the local comedy clubs, and I forget what she said. It was something about bashing women.
Oh yeah,
like
this women
woman
hater.
hater, yeah, like my favorite woman hater, Chris Storin, and I was like, yeah, I was.
She gives me shit all the time
Oh, it was
because
great.
Facebook. That's
It was
why,
great.
dude. Another reason why I got off of Facebook is because you're misunderstood.
Oh yeah,
You know, and dude, I gotta say, like, this pandemic has really helped me filter out what matters and what doesn't matter.
Mhm.
And Facebook, to me, it just didn't matter anymore. It was doing something to me. It was fucking making me feel a certain way on opinions that I would never give a fuck about.
You picked the
I
best.
would never
time
give
to
a
suck
fuck
out.
about.
It's been. I mean, it
And
was so all of
best
the.
thing ever happened to me was getting rid of that shit, bro.
With everything from the election, I do a whole bit about now, or it's a newer bit around the fact that like everybody. It's funny because this was a bit I did in a line I did in 2016, but it works even better today, calling it the Great Unfriending of 2020. Because it speaks more to like how polarizing something like everything since the pandemic, everything from masks, from how severe COVID is, to then you get the Black Lives Matter and the police shit, and then on top of that, then it was the election. It was just like you had one after the other of all of these polarizing all or nothing things, and then you fit in between. You throw in between all of these littler issues over, some celebrity said this and now we're trying to cancel them on Twitter.
Yeah.
And if you're not all on board, you're a fucking piece of shit.
Oh yeah.
It's just so much going on where it's just sort of like what the fuck? This is like a minefield. God forbid you're a smart ass, because then
oh yeah,
you're deemed an edgelord or
well, that's what happened to me. I was a smart ass to the ladies and they got pissed.
Oh, and good.
But
but
I mean, that very misunderstood, So when I posted this thing, some of the women comics were attacking it like,
oh,
here's
remember
another
with our old friend. Yeah, I know which friend.
here's another
that shit,
typical fucking thing, and it's just like, get off your soapbox. And these people that are complaining ain't funny. It's funny. At all.
Yeah. Or they
have been funny. They have had a good set every once in a while.
Yeah.
Ain't funny. A few people reached out to me in the DMs, and I talked to a couple of the women in the Bay Area scene. It doesn't matter what gender you are. If you're funny, you're funny. That's it.
It all everything always deals within the response to stuff. There's people that it depends on how much you respond to all that shit. Because if you notice, I'm somebody.
I gotta take a piss, MeanDave.
Oh, look at this. Oh, are you taking us with you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Look at this. We're gonna.
I don't care. I'm gonna shut down my camera though, so you. Yeah, you better watch out. It might go everywhere.
I've been booking shows and all that, but I've had all female lineups, I've had all male lineups, and not intentionally. And I'm the type of person where ain't funny. I have not been dragged for having promoted, all male lineup. I'm always somebody who's like, I if women want to be on my shows, they're totally welcome if I think they're funny. And if they're not funny, I had rooms where I could put those ones until they got funnier. Ain't funny. Women comics are just like male comics. They're fucking self-absorbed and,
yeah, for sure.
And just as much as anybody else. And
ain't funny.
My first time going to Brainwash, Tony Sparks, the dude that he's saying, if you're a woman, women sign up first. That was my first impression of Bay Area comedy, was going to that. I worked with women on my Zoom shows, but this was before the Zoom shit. On my podcast, we were talking about it with a couple other women comics, and they were also they were, if anything, you would have seen, they were, it's not like we're on sides, but they were understanding your point of view, that it's like, not every show, there's a finite amount of women on the lineups. And here's the thing, is like, sometimes you'll have two women on a show. One of them will bail last minute, and then that one remaining woman will then be like, why am I the only woman on the fucking show? And it's
just a narrative that fucking
It is a narrative.
area shit.
It's
It's just a narrative that wants to be pushed. And I refuse to fucking pay attention to it, because if you're funny, you're funny. And if you're ain't funny. You're not. That's it.
If you're a female comic, and even if you're new, that there is such a demand for women on shows based on both that shit and just in general, that you could get booked every night of the fucking week if you wanted to. Right. And the fact that the shows that I think truly aren't as aggressive about booking women, you know which ones they are. And
my thing was, don't go after the bookers that are on your side. Don't go after the bookers that are already on your side. And that was this case.
That's true. Work with but I'm saying that at the same time, a lot of the times the places that you find that there aren't the most women there, there's a fucking reason probably for that. It's probably because you probably don't want to be in those are probably not healthier environments that are going to have nastier male behavior.
Liz loves to give me shit about that, because
you probably had
I'm just like
that week.
I'm just like, I know women have it hard in the biz, but I mean, don't go after the guys that do have their back. Like in this case, it didn't work out where a woman wasn't on the show, which actually she was, but fucking they both forgot. Yeah, that's just comic shit, we forget. But
that's what I'm saying. Like the fact being that the narrative, like you say, it is the narrative that gets.
And I have love and respect for you. If you're funny, I have nothing but love and respect.
There's that.
Even if you're not funny, I mean, I'm friends with you. Ain't funny.
Now that's hack. But
all right, yeah.
But what I'm saying,
look at your eyes right now.
All the time, man. I'm like, oh great, another one of those Dave's not funny jokes. But no, the fact being though is that I get where they think they're coming from, but again, it's one of those things where we live in the area that I think has been the most progressive, and I think people take cues from our area and they take that shit to the other areas. And then they keep, and I think there's good things to it. I don't
anything to be a fucking victim, dude. Anything to be, and that's another thing about Facebook too.
I think that attitude. There's so many things that these types of don't want to discuss. Like I remember I saw a flyer by a guy that I'm cool with locally. He was making a satiric flyer about that was clearly like it was spoofing all of the comedy shows that you do that tend to be, I want to say in low income areas. It'll have misspellings. It's got way too many photos and way too many. It's got like all those different fonts. A lot of them tend to be black shows. I want to say that this was a flyer that was meant to kind of like it was meant to make fun of those shows that clearly sometimes take advantage of new comics. But at the same time, I'm looking through it. I'm like, there's some veiled racism here. And all of the comedy community locally that thinks it's so fucking funny are majority white. And as much as this is a scene that likes to act it's so progressive, it is blind so hard to so many that it's not. Oh, yeah. All right. And I'm friends with a lot of the comedy community that would deemed urban and all that. And a lot of black comics tend to like it's funny because they'll call me white, but I'm also a dude that, I'm just looking like brown Jesus or whatever, that I do attract, I want to say like honest communication, or I want to say like people from all of the areas of the comedy community, they want to talk to me for some reason. They inflate, some of the I was just talking to Jay Rich, Jay Rich.
Hell yeah.
Right. And Jay Rich was one of those dudes who definitely like he thrives in it and works really hard in primarily thrives in the black comedy community per se. But he's performed on a lot of crossover shows in the
Pure Killer,
whatever.
Pure Killer.
Okay, he's a great comic. But I remember when he was I remember he was going to try and make a push to go start showing up at Punchline and try to get in the rotation of that. And I just ran into him recently and we were talking about some of that and the fact that like the comedy community, for all of what it thinks it's trying to push diversity, it's like, no, you want to appear to push diversity, but you really aren't.
Yeah. About diversity. As long as these people of color are safe and fuck all that.
you have to be Eurocentric in
Fuck that shit,
your
dude.
tone. They
Fuck.
have to, you can't be having, you know, the one comic who I've seen who has somewhat bridged that gap in a way, but I still feel like they book him as a token kind of booking because he has some credits and whatever, and that's Mario Hodge. I've seen Mario Hodge pop up at some hipster comedy shows that they book in whatever, and it's good to see him. I'm like, I don't think they know about your Hello Kitty joke. That's got some veiled homophobia to it, and I think they're booking you because of some of this, and it's funny to me because
that brother's hilarious, man.
And
he's talented.
He's a powerhouse, but the funny thing about it too, it's like it's again these people doing things that, as the word that I've heard this year, it's performative. A lot of it's performative. They want to hear as though, and I think a lot of that with the booking with you know, female comics, because the fact is, anybody who knows me, like if they could catch me on a night where I might have all dudes on the line, no one is giving me shit for it, because any woman that knows me knows that they've done those rooms, and they also know any comics welcome, but also how often I've reached out to people before. And, you know, women, you know, fucking transgender, whatever, all this shit. And it's like, not all of them are going to want to go all the way to fucking Livermore for a show that might not pay in those tips, because there might not be tips. There might not even be an audience. You know, Vinny's Bar and Grill.
The true comics will do it, though. Like, comics will want to get up and
better and shit. Yeah, they do. But when it comes to, like, a lot of people, I mean, I hate to say this scene was spoiled.
It's victim shit, dude. It's victim shit that I want nothing to do with.
I would say more spoiled than victim, because I mean, there's some. I mean, when it comes to the victim shit, that's when there are some people that try to push more or less. I think they think that there's a problem more when there isn't.
Even some of our close friends, and I'm getting off the subject a little bit, but I agree with you on that. But it's like social media in general. The reason I got away is because of that. That probably more than anything drove me crazy. Politics or whatever. I don't really care. But it's just it really made me lose respect for you. It's just like I've lost, and once I lose it, it's hard to get respect back. You know, like I've never lost respect for you because you've always been a real one. You've always been funny as hell and cool and ain't funny. There's something there. Like I don't have a above or below. There's none of that either. Like in this, I don't consider myself anything above or below. It's mutual respect, and you know, you're funny as fuck or you're not funny as fuck, and that's it. And ain't funny. If you start throwing these little, like, slight little subtle victim-y things in, I notice it. You notice it. You see it. You're receptive of that. Like, you get it.
Well, I love it. The weakness.
I can't stand it, dude. Because we've all been through a lot.
You file that. I make good comics come undone just from like teasing them a little bit. Like
comic about. Why don't you walk through my childhood why don't you come into my eyes for a little while?
But again, that's that comic thing of not being completely incapable of putting yourself in someone else's shoes, like especially at that point in time. And for somebody went on one of those ayahuascas or whatever, which is basically just drugs. I don't give a shit about it's a fake bunch of bullshit with this ayahuasca being spiritual. I'm like, I've done acid, all right? I've felt the spiritual connectivity of LSD and all that, and I also am a drug addict, and I also know that
ayahuasca is from the earth.
I've learned the long way that everything that I thought I learned with all that, had I just had some simple sense of faith in life, and as it was, I would have found all of that enlightenment naturally without needing this substance that ended up, you know, kind of kickstarting a way of life for me that wasn't in my best interest. Because if I really feel that if I would have learned about the Melvins, my favorite band, that they didn't do drugs and drink as much as I thought they might have, I probably wouldn't have dropped acid as many times at the time. Probably would have just focused on music and trying to make music what my comedy is today, which is just a basic working, like something that I can make a minimum wage living at. But my mindset was as such that, like, in order to generate this creativity, I needed to ingest all this stuff. And then guess what? My creativity starts having all those pockets that are in your intestines. Right? That's exactly what happened to me. I mean, you physically.
Well, you're not easily bullshitted. You see right through bullshit.
When it comes to creativity, I'm telling you this, man. The thing about comedy, it's forced me to have to compromise a lot of my creative instincts when it comes to, because this is flat out, I love all the comics that I get to work with and all that kind of stuff, but comedy's not good today. It's not that good at all. I don't even care. Like even pro comics, the only comic of the last, like, I want to say 10 to 15, 20 years that's been newer, that's worth anything of their stand-up comedy is Mark Normand. I've tried watching all these newer comedians and they fucking suck. And it's because they're all paying lip service to older shit. They're also, it's this new age 50s shit. I saw it when I got in here in 2010, when puns and one-liners and empty bullshit. And I've watched it accumulate. And that's why comics are so cannibalizing each other over fucking PC woke politics, because they don't have anything else. They don't have any real perspective. So they have to create this fucking illusion of perspective through morality that isn't even real. I'm like, you got date rapists out there trying to tell people that they're pedophiles, all right? You got all kinds of contradictory bullshit. You've got misogynists who are now transgender. You've got all kinds of fucking horse out there that just is unbelievable. The level of hypocrisy and the fact that anybody thinks that today, in today's age, that shit's black and white, you either are or you're not, is such bullshit.
Oh, fuck out of here. Yeah.
Bullshit. And that the human condition can be so watered down into these fucking tweets and into what you are on a social media page and all that stuff. We're doing that to ourselves. And that's the dumbing down of it all. And comedy has suffered the most from it, because we watched the de-evolution, because when I noticed it, the moment that newer comics were not paying attention to not paying attention to what Bill Hicks, what George Carlin, to what Roseanne even. I mean, when Roseanne gets dragged because she's misunderstood over a fucking tweet by women
by Wanda Sykes, who I love.
Women were trashing Roseanne. It's like, I get it. Roseanne has some very problematic fucking views. But let's not forget that she gave the overweight housewife a fucking voice at a time when there were none.
They're pushing that racist narrative on Roseanne. I don't believe in my heart that Roseanne's a racist, man.
But I think she's an old white woman, and old white women, as we know from that generation, there's some instilled shit. But she's not beyond reproach. She's not beyond what, if anything, what's funny is it told more about us and our handling of it. It's like you've never dealt with the real racist before. Like, you can't
just up and attack someone for having views that they have. Like, talk to them, educate them.
Well, she even admitted she was. It's that she's known for saying fucked up shit. We've become this intolerant culture that's intolerant of the very people that we allowed to make mistakes, which were comedians. Comedians were intended to, like, it's like we are not. I love comedy that was made up from the misfits, the oddballs who fuck up, who then develop shit from that fucked upness. All right.
Yeah.
Like where Louis C.K. went wrong is by not doing a fucking hour on the fact that he was jerking off in front of chicks. It's like, no, just do material and avoid. Like, didn't you learn something from Richard Pryor, motherfucker?
I don't know though, because we live in a different time. Dave, like maybe he couldn't talk about it. Maybe he couldn't.
That's what would have he missed an opportunity. And I'm more mad at him about that than anything about all of the fucking.
Just say fuck it. I don't care. I'm just gonna do this anyway.
He had nothing to fucking lose at that point.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you should have done. These are things that I'm watching even good comics regress. And that's where it's just really, that's where Chappelle, when he did Sticks and Stones, people we're so sitting there aiming at the literal material. It's like, you're missing out on a bigger thing. He's taking aim at all of these subjects deliberately.
That's the problem. The triggering of it. The triggering of it is
He's trying.
It gets
to point out-
people's hearts going this way, where it's like, no, dude, focus on the road ahead, and we can all learn something.
He's just paying more homage to George Carlin, saying anything can be fun. And the fact that the fact that people overreacted to the transgender material as if like he's some transphobe, and I'm like, no, he's not a transphobe. He's always been juvenile. Go back and watch all of Chappelle's show. You'll see all kinds of problematic shit in there, but you don't want to call attention to that because you enjoyed that shit at the time. And now what you're expecting to do is now every time that your politics change on a fucking dime with every new fucking half second, you expect everything to align with that. But God forbid you may have been wrong yourself at one point. And the fact being, it's like that comics are intended to be irreverent. And granted, there's going to be some fuck ups. There's going to be shitty ones. There's going to be ones that, but you don't know. He said this on was it? I think it was Oprah or whatever. You don't know where the line is until you cross it. And he's always been a habitual line stepper in comedy. And I think that's one of those things. It's like for people to lose faith in him as a comic was what hurt him the most. And then he goes back and it's like, oh, you didn't like that? Well, then you're really not going to like this. And then you're really, really not going to like this. That's the big thing. But then you go and you watch his conversation with David Letterman. That's the same fucking dude that's been there for the entire time, who is thoughtful, who is just eloquent and insightful. And so then it's like, don't you think he might have had a reason for why he did what he did? Don't you think he might have? He wasn't just doing deliberate without a sense of purpose to it. He was doing it for comedy, and he was doing it he was definitely doing it to be an edgelord, but
ain't funny. I mean, he called me a comedy legend in the making, so like he called me. That's what he said about me. So I'm just letting you know.
It's taking a long time. It's taking a long time to cook, but you're a long, slow cook, as they like to say. But
slow and low, baby.
But it's been a wonderful conversation with you, man, and it's good to see you. And
we're done.
We got to wrap this up, man. It's been an hour.
I love you, MeanDave, very much, and I miss you like hell, man. I wish you were out here.
I'll be able to get out there one of these days and go visit you guys. Liz Stone has been telling me to go visit. So maybe after this shit lets up a little bit here.
Stay with us. Ain't funny. Yeah. You got a place to stay when you're out here. Always. You'll got a roof over your head.
Couch surf. I'm going to stay with Liz, stay with you, and Sean Reddy or whatever, and I'll visit all you guys out there. So,
do that. Okay. Love you, buddy. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
You have a great rest of the day, man.
All right, you too. Ain't funny. You fucking dick.
I mean, you know what I mean?